So, hello po, kuya. For the record lang po, pakisabi na lang po yung name niyo.
Uh, English ba Tagalog? Taglish.
Kahit
Japanese.
okay lang, kahit ano po pwede. Ikaw lang.
Yakwib. Anyway, hello. Good morning. It's morning summer. Hindi, sa Declan Mark Katakuta.
Sige. Ilang taon na po kayo?
21 years old.
Tapos, saan po yung province of residence niya?
Currently in Santiago City, Isabela.
Okay. So, given po yung we have the elections next year, ang research po namin was about seeing what the effects of a candidate's personality would have an effect on your vote. So, related po dun yung questions na itatanong. And so, is it your first time voting next year? Or are you a registered voter po, first of all?
Of course, I remember registered voter ako, although first time voting ko this year.
Okay.
May mid-year nung 2019, kaya hindi ako nakaboto.
Have you considered a personality trait of a leader which is essential for when you choose who to vote?
There was, in a time na naniniwala pa ako sa election.
Back then, do you consider that as an effective factor? Yung
What do you mean
personality.
effective?
Do you consider their personality traits an effective factor in terms of their leadership?
Ano ko ba makondense yan? Masyado na kasi akong na-toxic sa concept ng leadership. Basta, it's, ano ko ba? Siguro yung personality, if we could define leadership as something that could lead people, regardless kung saan man dinadala. Eh, syempre, malaking factor dyan yung natural na nag-attract sila ng people. Although that in itself is not a sufficient factor for what I feel your notion of a good leadership is.
For you, like specifically when you're voting, what do you think would be the characteristics that you'd be looking for?
Wait, for the record, yung 2022 elections to, no? Not any.
Sure.
Wait lang, pakiulit yung tanong. Medyo.
What characteristic of a person or a leader would affect your vote or your voting behavior?
Sa pagkakaintindi ko kasi, personality is fluid and everything is a performance. And on top of that, politics ang pinaka number one plastikan ng lahat. So there are so many layers of possible inauthenticity and mahirap i-establish that you're authentic. Siguro, ang pinaka magandang metric na lang would be yung kind of people that you attract. So if, parang you're trying to bridge the means with the end. So you attract the same-minded people. So if you're trying to, say, work more collectively, you get people that also are more predisposed to work collaboratively rather than authoritarianly. Parang, kasi yung relationship ng media tsaka politics and syempre yung virality ng social media, ang bilis mag-crystallize ng bagay-bagay. Ang daling maging one-dimensional ng mga tao. So, going back to your question, which is yung effect ng personality, po? Ay, effect ng personality in choosing a leader ba? Tama ba?
Apo,
May
apo.
ganun?
Yes.
I would say,
Or at least
uh,
any characteristic of them, actually.
uh, personally, I'd really prefer to be left to my own autonomy. Kasi
Okay.
I do not like my autonomy to be represented by any other authority regardless of intentions. Kasi meron nga tayong kasabihan na the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
And the fact na national level to, ang daming layers, ang daming tao na pinamumunuan. So, masyadong malaki na scale na mag-govern ka over that so many people given how ugly yung pinanggalingan nung leadership nung yung position ngayon, like to get where yung president yung position ng president natin is not a pot of roses to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Pero working within the framework that I think na election can do something significant, edi I would say someone very different from the one we currently have, which is someone na syempre decent, although that in itself ay hindi rin magandang hallmark kasi ilang beses na tayo na gogoya ng mga magagaling magsalita, charismatic, only to find out na they're incompetent or worse, malevolent and intently incompetent and ignorant. Ayun. So, ayun. Someone na competent and someone na passably authentic.
Okay. So authenticity is part of yung traits na gusto niya. How can you recognize that yung traits nila, so example, their actual authenticity? How do you recognize those traits as genuine?
Okay, my fault na hindi ako nag-expound. You can be
Okay lang po.
authentically bad. You can be authentically bad. You can be authentically immoral.
Mm-mm.
And siguro, ang point ko earlier would have been authentic na yun nga, yung na-attract mo yung same kind of people or same values. So, I would find someone na who supports the same values that I hold. So, syempre, someone na talagang may track record, kunyari, sa pagtulong. And not only merely pagtulong out of the job, but like, nag-make ng effort na kunyari, merong given na community or group of people na tinulungan. In-ensure niya kahit papaano na pag mawawala siya, ay yung changes, positive changes na iniwan niya ay mananatili. And yung changes na yun ay parang facilitate lang niya. Parang hindi siya yung nagdala ng solusyon. Ganun. Kumbaga na, here I am your Messiah, I will save you, yada yada. Hindi, parang lumubog siya, inalam niya, nakipamuhay siya, and tinulungan niya sa abot ng kanyang makakaya. Tapos, and hindi siya umalis na revered or admired, kundi tinuturing siya na part pa rin ng community na yun. Parang gano'n.
Okay. So with that in mind, how similar do you think you are to politicians with the traits that you desire? Or
Very,
yeah,
very far.
very far.
I think you could define my values as very niche and outside of mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And alam mo ba yung meme concept ng horseshoe theory?
Hindi pa.
Like your ideas are so far that you end up agreeing with the mainstream.
Mm-mm.
Hindi ako makapag-isip ng safe for work and safe for academics na examples. But ano bang example? So then off topic. Ano ulit yung tanong?
How similar are your traits with those that you find desirable in the people who lead?
How similar? Well, obviously, being a politician requires you to be social, and that's something that I am definitely not.
Mhm. Okay.
So that's one thing off the bat. And siguro yung medyo passable candidates in my eyes, bare minimum would be, oh no, what was I going with this? Ayun, may considerable experience with the various walks of life, though preferably familiar sa plight ng mga perpetually disadvantaged rather than your average middle class or average lower upper class
Mm.
na who got their fancy degrees elsewhere. Although, ayun, parang going by personality kasi it reeks very much of idealism, which I'm not antagonizing naman, since I consider myself an idealist. We can imagine something better, and not relatively better, kundi, you know, something that's genuinely good and not good with respect to how we're badly treated.
Mm.
You know, yung positive 10 kunyari, hindi yung, oh, this is a negative 5. Mas maganda na yan kaysa sa negative 10. Get me?
Mm.
So in terms of congruence dun sa personality, wala. I would say politicians, the one you admire should really be an inspiration, although, like, something you could strive to become or look towards or align with, parang ganun. So
Mm.
in my current case, medyo limited pa ang capacity ko, so the gap is like really wide, but I
Mhm.
wanna go there, parang ganun.
Okay. So when you're voting, do you actually vote for the politicians with the traits that you want?
I mean, it's my vote, so I get to decide how I will vote, and as much as possible, ayokong may external factors like winnability or yada yada. Although, yeah, if I still commit to the efficiency of the electoral process, then I evaluate yung candidates based on their merit and my judgment of their character. Although, mas malaking factor siguro yung merit kesa sa personality.
Mhm. Okay. So aside from that, do you have any uh leader or politician in mind? You don't have to mention the name, pero do you have some that you already follow or like know?
Hmm. Kikita daw ng teacher niyo, no?
Huh?
Makikita ba ito ng teacher niyo?
Teacher po namin si Sir Maps for transparency.
hmm. Hmm. Who do I follow sa current national elections?
And kahit hindi niyo naman po i-mention, basta as long as there is someone.
Hmm. Honestly, it's ano, I still look around sa nagagawa ni both ni Robredo and ni Lodi de Guzman. Pero everyone
Mhm.
else, they're
Okay.
typical.
Okay. Um, wait lang. Okay. So, uh, next is, do you actively try to find out more about them?
Hmm. What I know about them, I know against my will. Kasi
Mhm.
ang dami ng academic load ko. Gusto ko lang doom scrolling in peace.
Mhm.
So, I guess in a word, I don't, but the circles that I am in, I constantly nag-feed ng information. So, yeah. But going back to your question, no, I do not actively try to find information for myself.
Okay. So, aside from the personality of the leader, are there other factors that can affect your vote?
Ayun, yan ang nabanggit ko kanina. Siyempre, number one dyan yung merit, yung track record. So, ano ba
Mhm.
yung nagawa niya for, kung ang minimum age of presidency is 40 years old, ano yung ginawa niya for the past 2 years? Anong klaseng pamilya pinanggalingan niya. Kasi, syempre pag galing ng mayaman, that's more likely condescending ang tingin sa everyone below him or her, sorry. Ano pa ba? Merit, ayun. Ano yung ginawa niya, hindi naman factor yung education, nor that it plays a huge role, seeing that, our past presidents have been highly educated. So, strike off na yan. So, basically, ano yung nagawa niya with the privilege of being educated in a society like that. That being said, you don't have to be educated to make a difference. And it doesn't matter naman kung gaano karami or kalaki yung natulungan mo, as long as there's a track record that you at least genuinely made things better or less crappier for someone else. So, and number two, siyempre yung yaman. Kasi kung mayaman, edi each class tends to protect yung interests nila. So if we elect someone with ties to the various Chinese merchants from the mainland, edi it's less likely that he will represent our interests. If ang kanyang mga backers ay mga old cronies, mga kuwangko, ganun, that's again less likely to support that's someone who's less likely to be a genuine not only advocate but an executioner ng ating interest. So whereas kung nanggaling sa hirap, ang problema kasi sa galing sa hirap, ilang beses na naabuso yan eh. And depende rin sa naging daan niya mula sa pag-ahon sa hirap, more often than not, ibang hindi na niya nami-misrepresentan niya pinanggalingan niya. Ano pa ba ibang factor? Track record, pinanggalingan, ano pa ba? And syempre yung views. Although I don't think that's an entirely independent thing outside of yung kanyang personality and platform. Parang more of a mix factor-ish between the two. So, ayun. Depende sa mga pinupost niya or stances niya on certain things. So, syempre, if mas mataas yung agreement and mas mami kaming pinag-agreehan kaysa pinag-disagreehan or kahit sa pinag-disagreehan, nag-agreehan kami, that ideally plays a role in my voting preferences.
Okay. Yeah. So that's all the questions. So thank you very much for taking the time to participate. so, so yeah.